Coronado. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Wait till I get to my spot. Good morning and welcome to another edition of
U-News. Another one.
Where you can be the reporter and take home this lovely corn-fed life tumbler. So make sure to send in those reports. This month will be really easy to win if you get one in the next day or two. That's all the time you've got. And you can take home a beautiful tumbler. All right, what is on our list today for the top stories?
For today, we have a giant duck that has escaped now for days. And we have a house that's engulfed by a notorious desert native. Also, a man hunts for messages in a bottle. And a special report by Corn-Fed Craig.
Ooh, he sounds good.
Oh, he's the best. So, as you know, the World Series is going on right now.
The World Series? Who cares about the World Series? There's the top championship for a real world sport, the Soccer World Cup, which starts in 22 days, 12 hours, 43 minutes, and 50, 49, 48 seconds.
There's an app counting down. That's sad.
Yes, because this is a true world sport. They say World Series in baseball, but it's only teams from North America. So how do you call yourself a World Series?
That's the world that counts.
So the World Cup soccer tournament, which happens only every 4 years, is truly a world sport because that is the sport that almost the entire world, except America, cares about. Anywhere you go, they're all about soccer. So this is a sport where it is truly, I think it's the only team sport with a true world championship because there's literally hundreds of companies that play in many games over the course of 4 years just to qualify for this cup. And only 64 teams make it, and then they whittle it down to the final over the course of about a month and a half. And this year is going to be interesting because it's the first one held in a Middle Eastern country, and it's the first one held in winter, I believe. It's usually always in the summer, but this year it obviously starts in late November. So this is going to be really interesting because most of these guys play on teams that are in different seasons and stuff. And so now it's going to be interrupting the winter schedule. So for a real, true world championship sport, tune into the World Cup next month.
Okay, enough of that. Let's get to our first story.
A Colorado couple got trapped in their rural house over the weekend when a massive flood of tumbleweeds blew in and surrounded it on all sides, blocking all exits. Marlies Gross of Fountain said strong winds sent the 5-foot deep influx of wild western weeds rolling onto her property Sunday. I thought it was a bad dream, she said. I opened the front door and it's all tumbleweeds. It was full of tumbleweeds. She and her husband called neighbors for help clearing a path through the plants, which buried their vehicle and blocked their driveway, the station reported. You had to fight yourself through the tumbleweeds, which were above the car, she said. They now plan on getting help from the county of El Paso for removal of the tumbleweeds. That is crazy.
Yeah.
I've heard of people opening their doors and finding snow up to the top of the door, but can you imagine tumbleweeds blocking your path? That's crazy.
I hope they're not prickly.
And I know they do get big. We've got a little video, if you look back on our channel, where we were actually behind a fence too, and a giant tumbleweed, I would say it's about 3 feet tall, blew over our fence and was slamming into our door. The wind was blowing really hard. And so we kept hearing this. And And I open the door, and there's this giant tumbleweed.
Just wanting to come in.
Wanting to get out of the storm. So I know how crazy those tumbleweeds can get.
All right. Speaking of crazy, next I have a story about a man who hunts for messages in a bottle. Cliff Buffington of Utah has found more than 100 messages in bottles across North America and the Caribbean, and now he's on a mission to reunite one particular message with its mysterious senders. Buffington, a musician and former writing teacher who chronicles his maritime discoveries on his Message in a Bottle Hunter blog, said his fascination with messages in bottles stems from his childhood curiosities. When I was a kid, I had this dream of meeting every person on Earth. And I used to do these ridiculous calculations trying to figure out how long that would take and how long I could spend with each person before I would die, Buffington told a Zoom interview. And it became clear to me that wasn't possible. Buffington said his hobby of collecting messages in bottles reawakened some of those same feelings. Now I'm meeting these people who I never would have met before, caring about places that I never cared about before. When I hear something on the news about Northeast England or someplace in France, I wouldn't have registered for me at all, but now I have friends in these places, and that never would have happened any other way. Buffington said his father became the family's first successful message in a bottle hunter in 2006. He found it with my mom, and it was really freaking old. It was from 1959, Buffington said. The bottle was one of 150,000 launched by the Guinness Brewery in Ireland to promote a new type of stout beer. And as they planned, they washed up on the shores all over the world, and word spread, Buffington said. People are still finding them. I found 2 of them, and the last one I found was probably 3 or 4 years ago. So they're still washing up.
Wow, that's crazy.
I wonder what the message was and the mysterious person that he's trying
to
find.
Now I want to know. I'm going to have to do some more research, I guess.
That's a heartening story.
Very
100
cool.
bottles.
99 bottles of beer on the wall. 99 bottles of beer.
We should be able to find one of them then, if he's found 100.
I know. Well, I doubt they would make it all the way over to the center of the U.S. in Kansas.
Well, one thing I bet you could find is a giant inflatable duck. Why don't you tell the people about that?
Ooh, that sounds exciting. Yes. A giant inflatable duck that made its return to a Maine harbor this week broke free from its moorings and is now on the move. The inflatable object, in the shape of a gigantic rubber duck, appeared in Belfast Harbor last year with the word joy written across its front. The apparent art project returned this week, this time with greater joy emblazoned on its chest. An official with the Belfast Harbor office confirmed the inflatable duck broke free of its moorings amid high winds around noon Thursday and started floating out of the harbor. We actually went out and grabbed it with the boat, but all the lines broke on it, the harbor official said. It was just way too windy. We couldn't pull it back in. Witnesses reported the duck had drifted about 20 miles to the coast of Blue Hill, Maine. The duck was still floating loose as of early Friday afternoon. The origins of the duck, as well as last year's duck, remain a mystery. The mysterious rubber ducky.
Who can put a rubber ducky, a giant, 50-foot rubber ducky, in the harbor without people knowing who it is?
Yeah. I guess they don't have many security cameras over there in Maine, do they?
I guess not. Well, now we have a special report by our own corn-fed Craig.
Ooh. Thanks, guys. I'm here today at Coronado Heights, just outside of Lindsborg, Kansas. And as you can see, there is a spectacular view behind me in all directions. And This is a place named for the famed Spanish explorer Francisco de Coronado, and he did come through Kansas in his search for the fabled cities of gold, where they told him he could find gold hanging from the trees and pots and pans that were made out of hammered gold. And we don't know if he came through this specific spot, but they decided to dedicate this spot to him, and they made a lovely castle, and it's just a really beautiful location overlooking the valleys, and you can see for miles and miles and miles. All right, thanks. Back to you guys. Thanks, Corn-Fed Craig. What a great report. One more thing. Now, there's only 22 days, 12 hours, 33 minutes, and 42 seconds until the first World Cup kickoff.
Yay!
We will keep you updated as the days go on. And as for the World Cup, you can Google it. I mean, the World Series. The World Series of baseball, you can look that up yourselves. Who cares? I only care if the Royals are in it. Then we're all over it.
Yep.
So we are diehard Royals fans. Other than that, we couldn't care less. Sorry. Have a wonderful day, and may God bless you all. We'll see you next time.